Hello. Welcome on back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. I'm really excited for today's video because I have my good friend and supermodel on back with us today. The one and only Miss Colleen Heidemann. On her, I created what I consider to be a truly classic and timeless old Hollywood glam kind of look. And I'm grateful to have done this in partnership once again with One Size Beauty. So if y'all want to learn how I created this look right here, then keep on watching. So to begin, I'm using the Fresh Rose Deep Hydration Oil-Infused Serum as the first step to prep Colleen's skin. How I apply this on is I pour a good amount of this into the palm of my hand, and then I use a makeup sponge to really press this into the skin. And I like using this before any type of cream or moisturizer because it's a serum, so it has a thinner consistency. And it's because of that, I'll always start with the serum first and then layer the moisturizer on top of it. Once we have the serum well applied onto the skin, I'm going to use the Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream to further moisturize our model's skin. Now this duo between the fresh serum that I use and this Tatcha cream has always worked really well as a skin prep regimen for when I do Colleen's makeup. You can really see here how hydrated and luminous her skin is becoming as I really work this product into her skin. Today, more than ever, it's really important that our model's skin is well prepped because I'm going to be using solely a powder foundation for the base. And I don't forget to bring this skincare down the neck, décolletage, and shoulders. Next, I'm using the One Size Secure the Blur Makeup Magnet Primer as the last skin prep product for today, and I'm utilizing this in a spot treatment kind of style, focusing the application in particular areas of the face, such as the T-zone area and anywhere where I can find little fine lines, such as around the eyes and mouth. This primer is great if you're somebody who struggles with having those fine lines or texture or even large pores, because this will fill those right in, giving a more blurred and smoothed finish. Now that we have the skin prepped, I'm going to use the One Size Turn Up the Base Versatile Foundation Powder in the shade Fair 2R, and I'm applying this on with a dense dome-shaped brush. I'm using a patting-like motion because I don't want to tug on the delicate skin around this area of the eyes, and I'm patting it on with a dense brush because we'll get a fuller coverage effect than if I were to be sweeping it on with a fluffy brush. I'll zoom in a bit here so you can see here up close. It just brightens and conceals that slight amount of red undertone around the eye. Of course, if you find that you need something extremely full coverage around the eyes because you struggle with dark circles, you can go in with a concealer first, but I wanted to demonstrate the power of this foundation powder alone today without any liquid concealers involved. And as you can see, it just gives that soft, light focus to the center of the face, which looks flattering on everyone. And for the rest of the face, I'm going to mix in this shade here of the same foundation powder in the shade Medium 5G, and I'm using a large fluffy face brush this time to apply this on. By using a large fluffier brush, we're getting a less concentrated application of this powder, which is a method to use if you're someone who enjoys a more light and sheer coverage of foundation. If you're someone who likes a full coverage, I recommend using a dense brush or even more, a powder puff. But with more mature skin, I feel this is the most flattering way to apply it, in my opinion. There's definitely a stigma out there associated with using powders on top of fine lines and how they're thought of as to accentuating wrinkles, but truly, if applied the right way, this powder foundation can look better on mature skin than a liquid concealer. Liquids and creams tend to break down and cake up in between wrinkles throughout the day, especially where there is a lot of movement, such as around the eyes and mouth, whereas with this One Size foundation powder, once you apply it, it's there to stay. And for those of you who worry about powder looking dry on your skin, that's why it's so important to prep the skin with hydrating skincare beforehand. The powder will have something to grip onto and it will just melt into the skin throughout the day. What you see me doing here is concentrating that deeper shade of foundation powder around the perimeter of the face, such as the cheekbones, forehead, and sides of the nose, to build up some dimension. If we had just used one shade everywhere, it could read a little flat and unnatural. So as an overview, I used shade Fair 2R in the center of the face, mixed mixed shades Fair 2R with Medium 5G for the full face, and now adding depth by just using that shade Medium 5G. With just those two foundation shades, we have it just like that. We have the overall complexion done with accents of highlighting around the eyes and light contouring around the face. Besides this one size powder being available in 32 inclusive shades, I'm loving it because it's truly buttery, it's buildable, it's blendable, it's bulletproof, and it's blurring. I'm gonna throw a side by side up here so you can see just what I mean. The finish has that really polished and almost airbrushed on kind of effect that looks incredibly beautiful. Okay, moving on, I'm using the one size translucent ultimate setting powder to bake the jawline. And in case you're unfamiliar with what this does, it's a technique used to set makeup and to brighten areas of the face. In this case, I'm running it right along Colleen's jawline, from the corner of the mouth up to her earlobe. We'll leave it here to sit for a few minutes while I do the rest of her makeup, and you'll be able to see later on in this tutorial the results we get once I wipe it off. You could also do this in other parts of the face, such as the under eyes, but I'm going to skip out on that today only because I want this look to remain more wearable. Next, I'm using the blush from this Kosas blush and highlighter duo in the shade Longitude 0 High Intensity, and I'm applying this to the upper parts of her cheekbones to add some color back to the skin. Now, I'm going to end up painting on a bright red lip later on, so I don't want to add too much blush because then there's just a, just a lot of color involved. And usually you see me go a little crazier with the blush because with bright lighting, it tends to get washed out, but I turned down the studio lights a little bit today and zoomed in more than I usually do so you can really get to see Colleen's skin and how the products are applying on top of it. There are no filters, no over the top bright lighting. What you see here is what you get, and it's coming together quite nicely. Now for the brows, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow pencil in the shade Taupe, and I'm slowly going to start building up the brow into the shape I want it to be in. How I'm going about this is I'm keeping most of the depth on the outer half of the brow and keeping it softer as I get towards the center, and this ombre gradient effect gives a more natural and softer look to the brows. You can see here it's a lot of back and forth. I'll take a step back every so often to see how the shape is coming along, and I'll then add more where it's needed. Adding is definitely easier than taking away, so take your time with the brows. To save us a bit of time though, I'm going to complete the other brow off camera, and I'll then start with the eye makeup using this shade from the Master Mattes eyeshadow palette from Makeup by Mario. I'm lightly building up this pigment onto the outer half of the lid and diffusing it outwards. The look I'm creating today is really inspired by Colleen's go-to makeup look, which is a gray smoky eye and a bold red lip. I don't think I've done a tutorial on my channel yet where I've paired the two together. You usually see me do a smoky eye with a nude lip or a bold lip with a simple eye makeup, but today we're gonna have the best of both worlds. But I'll do it in a way where it doesn't look like too much. You know what I mean? For example, the eye makeup isn't going to be a pitch black smoky eye. We're going to keep it settled with a light wash of gray tone throughout the outer corner and crease, add a clean black liner, and finish it off with a really light false eyelash. Once we have the gray eyeshadow smoked out on both the upper lid and lower lash line, I'm going to use the one size point made waterproof liquid eyeliner pen to line the upper lid. Now Colleen has a lot of beautiful lid space, so I can be pretty bold with how thick I make this eyeliner. If you have a lot of lid space too, you can get that retro look by making the liner just as thick as I am here, but if you don't have a lot of lid space or if you have hooded eyes, you can totally get away with applying a much thinner of a line or no liner at all. That's perfectly fine too. But once we have that applied, I'm going to head on over to the one size point made 24-hour gel eyeliner pencil in the shade Bodacious Black to tight line the upper lid. So as I was saying a second ago, if you don't have the lid space to apply a liner, but yet you still want the depth and the drama up there, you can opt for tight lining the lid instead like I am here, and truly it makes the biggest difference. I mean, what do you think here? I think it looks really clean, yet it still makes a statement, you know? And for the bottom lash line, I'm running this pencil only through the outer third of the waterline before buffing it out with a detailed brush, which is another neat trick if you're someone who wants to have the drama of a dark lower lash line, but struggles with the eyeliner making your eyes look smaller. Just commit to the outer corner of the eye and see how it works for you. Alright, now that we have this eye done, I'm going to complete the other one off camera and then use these lashes from Rokael Beauty in the style Full Moon to apply on. And this style is great because they're lightweight, they're easy to apply, and it's not so dramatic that it's going to take up the whole eyelid, you know? It's really understated and soft. Now with this highlighter from Catrice in the shade Beyond Golden Glow, I'm going to add radiance back to the skin by applying this to the high points of her cheekbones, down the brow bone, not down the brow bone, but you know, on the brow bone, down the center of the nose and Cupid's bow. This is another product I've really enjoyed using lately. If y'all follow me on Instagram, you've seen me post about it. The brand did a great job with this formula. It doesn't look too powdery or glittery on the skin, and it's super affordable. It's only $6. You can get it from Ulta, although I found that not all Ulta stores carry it, so I just get it online. I'll put the link down below, along with everything else I'm using today, of course, but I'll definitely recommend this if you're looking to try out a new highlighter. Okay, so for the lips, I'm using these two liquid lipsticks from Anastasia Beverly Hills to create the perfect red lip. The first shade I'm using here is called Seraphine, which is a rich, deep red, and I'm using this to outline the lips. Now, you've heard me say it here before on my channel. I'm not a huge fan of using lip liners when creating a bold colored lip. I always use a matte liquid lipstick because it's packed with color pigment. It gives me a really crisp line, and it's easier to apply. It just glides right on, whereas with a lip liner, it takes a little more work, unless it's a creamy lip liner. But the issue with a formula that's too creamy is that it doesn't stay put throughout the day and it starts bleeding through fine lines. So if you're someone with fine lines around the mouth, I can't recommend enough for you to try using a matte liquid lipstick instead. It's really a game changer. Alright, now that we have that first shade applied, I'm going to use the other shade of lipstick called Spicy and apply this just to the center of the lips. These two liquid lipsticks together have been my favorite to use for a bold red lip for years now. This orangey red color I'm applying to the center amps up the look, gives the lips dimension, and makes the color look so rich and saturated. To get a high shine finish, I'm going to use the City Lips Clear Gloss from City Beauty to add right on top. I know a lot of y'all purchased this with my discount code after I used it in a couple of recent tutorials, so I wanted to show you a different way of how I use it. So instead of using it as a plumping gloss to prep the lips with, I'm using it as the last lip product to get that glossy finish. And if you do have fine lines around the mouth, I'd recommend not bringing your gloss all the way to the border. This way you don't have to worry about it bleeding. And lastly, I'm using the MAC Fix Plus spray to set the makeup and to melt the powders into the skin, which officially makes this the final step in how I created this polished and timeless look on the beautiful Colleen Heidemann.
Where do we go when everything feels like it just stays the same? Where do we go from here when everything is said and done?
And there we have it, kids. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give this video a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out more of my work on my Instagram at Painted by Spencer. And until next time, I'll see you soon.